celebrate what CMS is all about, applied learning. Today I have learned a lot, and I've had my heart pulled in many different directions, and I am very grateful to the student body for the quality of the presentations that I have seen. I want to remind people to use technology appropriately during the presentations. I also want to remind you that during the question and answer session that follows, we should make sure to ask questions more than we give comments to make sure that it's the student who has the floor. Without further ado, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Raul.
Hello, my name is Raul. This term I researched on the over-reliance to standardized testing in college admissions, specifically the SAT. The title of my senior oral presentation is Standardization in College Admissions, the 410 days to where you'll go. So the problem, it appears that year after year, colleges are using standardized tests, are relying more and more on standardization each year. Jill Tiental, provost of Northwest University, said that the SAT was originally conceived as an objective measure to even the difference in curriculum and grading across the country, but the objectivity has eroded while the importance of the test itself has increased. Steve Cohen also, author of the book Getting In, which talked about how to get into college, describes that today it is a very scary reality. If you don't have a near perfect score, most top universities won't even look at you. For example, I took MIT, and I took a graph of the admissions grades from the math, writing, and the critical reading sections. If you see, it will score almost be beneath 600, guarantees almost an statistical deviation of the person. Now, I would not have a problem with this if the SAT was a valid and reliable resource of measuring a student's future success, but this is far from reality. For starters, it's misunderstood on what it measures. Second, income plays a role in scores, and the last factor is there is large discrepancy between races and ethnicities. And what I mean by misunderstood is that you don't, the test itself, there's no really a concrete measure of what it actually is measuring. In the start, it was measuring aptitude, but as Valerie Strauss, a writer from Washington Post, says, the College Board, which owns the SAT, tried over years to defend the test's ability to predict college success, but eventually gave up on it by dropping the word aptitude and calling it the SAT. Aptitude, by definition, is the ability to measure or predict how well someone will do in doing something. So if it does no longer measure aptitude, then it does no longer serve a purpose in measuring how well you do. Jill Campbell, provost of North Carolina University, argues that high school grades are still the best predictors to how well you'll do in college, and that the SAT only has a marginal index of how well people will do in college. My second factor is that there's a racial and ethnic bias in the SAT. A study in 2003 found that whites scored on average much higher than African Americans in American Indian in all of the sections. When repeated the study in 2015, we found similar results with the blacks having 99 points beneath the white students. A study that disappeared in the Harvard Educational Review after the second study was done said that unfair test results throws into the question the validity of the test and consequently all decisions made on its results. The third factor, which I'm saying, is income. If you look at this graph of income data from College Board, we can see how people from lower incomes get a drastically lower score than people with higher incomes. For example, those who earn more than $200,000 have an average CT score of 1714, while people from $0 to $20,000 have an average SAT score of 1328. Sal Gazer, a research associate at UC Berkeley, wrote in a paper, compared to high school GPA, SAT scores are much more closely related to the student's socioeconomic characteristics. As a result, SAT has lowered the chance of admission for underrepresented minority applicants who come disproportionately from disadvantaged backgrounds. You may ask yourself, if it's so flawed, how did it become the big phenomenon which it is today? Well, the cause of this depends on two factors. First of all, how it became mainstream, and second, why is it considered so important? It became mainstream. Its history starts from 1928 when it was first issued as a version of an Army IQ test, which was redesigned to look at the most prominent scholarship candidates at Ivy League schools. After the great success of the test was seen, the Harvard president James Compton and ETS, the Educational Testing Service, set off to popularize the test, and soon, in 1960, the University of California made it a requirement. Now, this only explains why it became a mainstream thing to do standardized testing. It became so important because of rising inputs of students caused by people noticing that when you go to college, they will offer you higher wages. For example, people who had a degree earned 1.5 times the annual pay of workers with only a high school diploma by 1999, and the ratio today is 1.8. So you can see why people would opt to go to college as the wages increase and it becomes more profitable to go to college. As you can see here from 1955 to 2010, there's a huge rise in public and private university enrollment. And also, there's a correlation between the rise in SAT takers from 1986 to 2012. Oh, you can almost see that a pattern. When the SAT takers increase, also the enrollment increases, and when enrollment decreases, SAT takers decrease. Solutions. The first solution would be to remove the SAT at all from the admissions process. Jonathan Lash, president of Hampton College, which was one of the first colleges to remove the SAT from its admission criteria, reported that since it removed the college's academic record over the 4 years, their recommendation, essays, in-person interviews, and the optional graded supplement gave a more complete portrait of the student and gave them a more complete picture of their likelihood of success in the college itself. A study called Defining Promise, Optional Standardized Testing Policy in American College and University Admissions, found that students who decided against submitting test scores nearly equivalent cumulative GPAs and graduation rates compared to those who submitted test scores. This study shows how scores are irrelevant medium to measure college success. Although getting rid of test scores altogether seems like a promising option, it's backed up by legal regulations, and it would be inconvenient to issue a ban on private universities. On the other hand, public universities, which are ruled by the government, can issue a ban on standardized testing. The most popular alternative is for test optional policies. Dan Edmonds reports that the increasing number of test optional schools speaks to the growing distrust of the SAT and ACT and of their capabilities of predicting college success. Pittsburgh College, which recently became a test optional school, reported a 58% increase in diversity, and the college has doubled the number of students from low-income first-generation families. I believe the best solution would be to implement test optional policies, to wait for test optional policies to become mainstream, and meanwhile, in the shorter term, issue a ban on the SAT and standardized tests likewise in government-funded institutions in the present. And you may ask yourself, without standardized testing, how are people going to notice the most prominent candidates in a huge application pool? Well, Bard College, college who recently became test optional, instituted an online college entrance exam, which consists of 4 questions, which sum up to 2,500 words. And if the person gets a B+ in the score, he or she will be offered admission. Thank you. Questions?
Say it a little louder now.
Questions? On my website again.
Do you have any example or statistic where the student who has a 4-year school for whatever reason, maybe health events or circumstances, does phenomenally on SAT and therefore is given acceptance? Do you have that?
I'm an example of that.
They say like if he has a low GPA but gets a high ACT scores, but you need an example.
Like she.
Like, say there was a student who didn't do her homework very much, and
Oh,
so GPA was low, and then she got good SAT scores. Would she get? Are those students getting accepted into college?
There's graphs which show like the admissions rate from different colleges, and you can see like the pattern. If you get like a 4 GPA, you will not get into college like if you have like a 1,400 ACTs. You have to find like a gap between both. Like a solely like a perfect GPA, but a low ACT scores won't get you into college, into a very good college. And but an extremely high SAT but a low GPA, neither will. You have to find like a balance between both.
Okay, the answer.
Daniel?
If it has already been seen or if it hasn't, how do you think the institutions which administer the ACT and the SAT or react or would react to your proposed solution?
My solution was to wait for the test option, like to become mainstream. When one college becomes mainstream, many others will gather around. It will be like we're reading Malcolm Gladwell, the points. So when one school starts, it will cause like a ripple effect, which will propagate to different schools, and soon it will become the norm.
If you already get to see, how do you plan to compare students from around the globe, like compare a Dominican student with an American?
I told you about the example of Bard College, which implemented an online syntax exam, which consists of 21 options of questions, and the student can decide if they want to answer this question or this question, and they should answer 4 from the 21, and based on their scores on that, they will decide if their profile fits the college, because those questions are made from the professor themselves. So they make it to fit the value criteria of the university, not a standardized version.
And what types of subjects are in that?
Online entrance exam. It consists of essays. 21 questions, and you write 4 essays. You choose 4 of 21, and you write it.
Keep going. You can still talk in your dark.
So you have to answer 4 to 21 questions, and I didn't really get into depth what they actually are, but I just know that they're 21 questions. You got to answer 4.
Do you have any statistics about how much money College Board or ESC makes about for college application fees and SAT fees? Do you have any statistics also?
No, but I know that College Board is like the one of the most profited distributors of test prep materials, which really begs the question, like, why would they have such a big test prep corporation if they are just measuring aptitude, which
Well, one of the other big issues with the SAT has been test integrity. And I wonder if you encountered any information about test integrity and how it plays into colleges and their interest in using the SAT to determine whether a student will be successful or not.
Like test integrity, you mean cheating?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is about cheating.
Obviously, in some sides of the world, the SAT might be taken in a different way, and it could promote higher chance of cheating. Like if you the United States, probably more restricted and more professionally taken than in other places. So maybe the scores from other places might be higher because some kind of test, like the faulty integrity in the test taking process. No, I have statistical test integrity.
What do you think about the change of the SAT?
Oh, the new one.
Yeah.
I was looking at the research and they say that they changed SAT because they noticed that their current format didn't really measure anything rather than the knowledge you learned in high school, and it wasn't really a good way of predicting college success. So in the research it says that they changed it to become a more reliable resource.
Do you believe that, though?
I haven't taken it.
But do you believe that was their motivation?
I think so, because if you see this graph, you can see that the SAT takers are slowly going down. So they became the second most taken standardized test after the SAT. And I think they're realizing that their test is no longer becoming this resource which can be used universally to measure success, and they're getting left behind, basically.
So that seems to suggest that you think their motive was profit driven. They're losing profit, so they changed the tests to regenerate profit.
Yeah, but if they want to make profit, they have to change it so it becomes more reliable.
Okay.
And the discrepancy, we talked between discrepancies, income and wage, and what it measures, it should be improved if they want to improve profits.
Okay.
Because in the past, it was really based on IQ test. So it had this connotation that it was a measure of intelligence. But through time, it eroded, and it's no longer what it used to be.
Leave up on this slide here. If you look carefully at the second graph, what is actually continuing to rise?
The ACT.
Correct. So it's an important component of this. And some people would counter that the SAT is chasing the success of the ACT.
Yeah.
I just had one last question on this. So their score exists to write for that, but can they cheat and can they hire really good tutors to write the mistake?
And the online stuff, I don't really know about, but it's a good cheat, but
So
But it's possible to change. And the SAT is here now. You can pay someone to change.
Let's hear a question from Juan Cruz back here.
I think that like if a college has to say 40,000 applicants, it might be very expensive or like hard to implement like a test of like forensics for each applicant. Do you think there is like some possible alternative to the SAT that's like easy to grade, or do you think colleges should just eliminate that altogether and just the other?
well, you have to write a lot of essays and supplement for starters if you want to apply to college. So I think that what college did is like the best way, because you're not only creating a test which measures what the college wants to see in you, you're creating like a test which will ultimately see the most people, the people which rank the best at like for being in this type of college. For example, for liberal arts college, the question will change. If it's like a math specialized college, the question will change, and depending on your answer, those questions are, they measure like after the measuring how well you will do in this college. So if you do well in the test, you will do well in the college, according to the premise.